Okay, I'm back. The game, my recording software once again crashed. This is something that seems to only happen with Lego games, and this once again, I guess, just reaffirms that the Lego engine is so buggy and so messed up in the way it works on PC that I can't play any Lego games. I thought I really had hoped that we would have been able to fix that, but here you can see micro stuttering is starting to show up immediately again, and it's just like all the same problems that we've seen dozens of times before in the other Lego games, and I'm just not willing to put up with it anymore. Um, so there's 3 achievements left.
My name
Um,
is Oliver Queen.
One of them is specifically defeating enemies with a bow and arrow in this specific level. But the other achievement is to have Batman from the Dark Knight trilogy be blown up by Nurse Joker. That's what we were trying to do when it crashed before. There's that achievement. The other achievement is to play as the Scarecrow from Batman Begins and Bane. Not. This is that one. And so then that leaves us only with here, this guy. Which I don't want to spend too much time here, but I also want to move the story forward in a natural progression way so I can actually get the enemies to spawn. But yeah, unfortunately Lego games still problematic, far too problematic. And it's a shame. It's a real big shame because you would expect them to work better and to not create the awful situation where you're giving a very poor experience for kids who aren't going to be able to handle or adjust to the idea as easily of a game being buggy and not working. And since there seemingly is no solution, I thought this had been fixed, honestly. With a brand new computer, I thought it had been totally fixed, but it isn't. I honestly have to wonder if it has something to do with the way it draws windows and scales windows. I've made all kinds of changes to my new computer that, if anything, should have made things better, not worse. And undoubtedly, somebody out there is not going to have the same experience as me, but we are now talking two completely separate computers, two different architectures. The only thing I haven't changed is I had an NVIDIA graphics card that was a 970 GTX, and now I have a 1080 GTX. 2, 3. Come on, do the scan thing. Yep. Yeah, I thought this, I had hoped that this, covering this DLC, which, but it sucks in general to have DLC, but I thought covering this DLC would be kind of a nice little blast from the past, and instead it's really just turned into a refresher of all the problems before. They just, all those frustrations came flashing back. And yeah, I'm not willing to put up with this. I can go find hundreds of other games, and maybe they won't be kids games, and maybe they won't be Lego games, but at least they won't be guaranteed frustration experiences also. And I guess that will just leave me in a situation where I'm not super hot to potentially buy new Lego games if I can't even cover the old ones. Even if there were new Lego games being released and developed. We're just gonna keep on shooting until the achievement pops. I assume you have to do this all in one run. Otherwise I would have already gotten the achievement. Even if you had to do it in this level, playing this level before. Alright, that pops that. So let's return to the watchtower so we can save and exit. Because I don't want to corrupt the save file in some weird way. Yeah, it's pretty much impossible. Let's just go ahead and skip all this. To recap all of Lego Batman 3, of course, that would have happened when I finished the majority of the game. But I can say that the DLC here does not feel worth it in any means. And let me just Alt-Tab out and refresh just to make sure I've gotten all the achievements. Yes, I have. Yep. So 5 years later, coming back to a 100% save file to do 5 levels of DLC levels is not a good experience. All of these levels were particularly short. We lucked out is about all I can figure, is that there's something that happens after a while as you start to play Lego games that just corrupts their code, whether it's the video caches or what, but there seems to be really no fix for it. It seems to be some kind of permanent corruption that just gets worse and worse and causes micro stuttering. Yep. So once again, I guess revisiting Lego games, I'm back to where I was, where I've just am going to swear off playing Lego games, which, yeah, that certainly sucks, but that's where we are. I would recommend playing Lego games on a Switch, or getting used copies and playing them on an Xbox 360, or yeah, get the 360 games and then put it into an Xbox Series S, and you probably would get a HD upgrade for a lot of those games and back compatibility downloaded versions of those games that might actually have been patched. But on Steam, these games seem to have been completely untouched and unpatched. And the only hope I have really for Lego games is that when they get around to actually successfully releasing the Lego Star Wars remake, maybe at that point they have an improved engine that can actually work and doesn't have all these problems that keep popping up for players like me. But even if that is the case, then they probably would just try and resell remakes of all the old games, which isn't a terrible thought, but I would also like them to try and patch and remaster some of the older games too. Anyways, this was never going to be a long series, so that's going to be it for this series. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list. I have a playlist for every game I've ever covered also on my YouTube page, so you could go back and check out the other Lego series I've covered. And I would just ask to try your best to ignore my whining about the micro stuttering, but it definitely became a nightmare. Um, yeah, and yeah, that's about all I have to say. It's sad. It's just a really sad situation that still hasn't been fixed and probably never will be. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.